Hi there. My name is Holly Haynes, and I am a business strategist that helps you build a full-time business on a part-time schedule without relying on the social media algorithm. And today, we're talking about the five-figure email. And the secret is strategy, not just luck. So this episode is all about strategy, which is my sweet spot for growing your business. And the title mentions a five-figure email, but it's the complete strategy that matters. And here's why. People don't just buy on Instagram alone. So let's be honest, people are rarely buying from a single Instagram post. They need to know, like, and trust you first, which is why it's really important to explore the strategic circle for building relationships. It involves podcasts and funnels and live events and personalized communication. So inside this episode, I'm actually going to reveal the high-performing email, the exact things I said that brought in five figures, but explain the strategy behind its success. So it's time to ditch the automation sometimes. I still love a good system and connect on a human level. Learn how to ask questions, offer support, and build trust. This is an episode you're definitely going to want to take notes on. Comment below with strategy and let me know what you're working on. And I can't wait for you to dig in to this week's episode. Welcome to this week's pep talk. And I'm really excited to share this topic because this pep talk is all about strategy. I know we've sort of gotten personal over the last couple of weeks, and then we were talking about all the things that you can do inside Anti-Social School, but this podcast episode is my sweet spot. So the topic, when I ask my clients what they could talk about nonstop without notes, and it feels like Christmas morning, is this. This is what it is for me. So you're going to want to get a piece of paper and write it down because I'm going to share with you an email that brought in five figures this month. And you can do it right now, as in today. You don't need any systems or anything else set up. But there's a little bit behind the scenes that I want to share because when I think about what it takes to run a business today, I think about it as this big strategic circle. And so I know the title of the email said the one email that brought in five figures this month. But if I'm being honest, it's because it's a very SEO friendly title and it's part of our whole strategy. And yes, the one email did do that. And I'm going to share with you what the email is. But I would like to think that this email plays with all these other things that are working together, which is why it's so important to look at your buying behavior. So I'm going to give you a little like behind the scenes first, and then I promise I'm going to get to the email. So my case in point is people are not buying off Instagram. And I actually just had a client session this morning in person. She lives in here, not in here, in our house. No, she came over to our house. She lives in Columbus, and we were talking about where are people buying? Yes, people are seeing you on social media, right? But when was the last time you invested in something of substance? I'm not talking about like the cutest dress or new leopard shoes from like a swipe up on Instagram. I'm talking about like an actual like investment that you just bought solely from Instagram. The answer is nothing. Like keep thinking. If you did do something, then I really want to know. But I can't remember personally the last time that I invested in something major just from seeing it on Instagram. So hear me out. You, if you're looking to work with me, probably see me on Instagram, right? Then you go listen to my podcast. Then you probably check out my website. Maybe you ask some of my current clients, like if they've worked with me before, what that looks like. You might even download one of my free resources. Then you're reading my emails. Now we're talking back and forth in email. Like there is so much behind the scenes that is working besides what you're seeing on social. And I know we've talked about this a lot, but when I share this one email, I think that this is also coming into play of you need this strategic circle where maybe you're sharing on social or maybe you're sharing on a platform that's not social. Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a blog, maybe it's Substack, but you're also going to networking events and you're also being an active member of the community and you also have resources on your website. And so I just think it's important to really look at where are people buying from and where are people finding you, right? And so yes, this one email brought us in 5 figures this month, but I want you to know that the reason why it worked was because we have the following strategy in place. So if you are looking to work with me, you can listen to this podcast. You hear my voice. You hear probably the neighbor mowing their grass right now. You know I'm a real person. You listen to how I teach. You see results. I interview clients on this podcast, and you know me more as a person. You know we like to travel, that I drink chai tea, that I have twin girls. So I would like to think that this listening has helped us form a relationship. But then behind the scenes, we have systems, right? So I help you set up systems, but also I have systems set up for myself. So we have free resources and funnels and content that are all designed to take our relationship to the next level. And then the cherry on top is you can come hang out with me in real person, in real life, in real person. I can't even talk today. In real life events, right? So you can come to some of our free workshops. You can come to some of our retreats. Strategically, we're doing something live in person so that you can hang out with me via virtual or actually see me in person once a quarter. And then the goal is we bring it all home with email because that's how I communicate. It allows me to schedule things and plan things and also ask strategic questions so that I can have real conversations with you, which is a lot about what we talk about on this podcast and what we've talked about as we've launched this next cohort of Antisocial School. So if you want to learn more about all of that strategy and that strategic circle behind the scenes, then you can just go to hollymaryhaynes.com/social and I walk you through the entire framework. It's free. It's updated. You can get all the things. But the thing that we did this last launch that really, really brought it home was we layered in the live teaching part, which I sort of just went through really quickly. So the goal is that I am teaching something live at least once a quarter. And then we're sending emails. I talk about email all the time, but there's one email that did really, really well. And there's one email, it's this email that I hand wrote, right? So this wasn't my team. This was not anyone else. It wasn't automated and it was individually sent to each person, which means I think I sent over 120 individual emails that I hand typed. This is not a system, but it really worked. And I feel like in the economy that we're in, and the fact that I actually took the time to write a handwritten email, it's almost like getting a handwritten note in your mailbox. People were surprised and they wrote me back, which was awesome because then I could have a conversation about, hey, what's going on? What are your challenges? How can I help you? Sometimes they joined our program, sometimes they didn't. And that's totally okay because we had a real conversation. So here's the email. The subject line of the email is not an automated email. And then I put a little smiley face, right? Then the email said, hey, Sally. And then I wrote something personal. So I went back into our systems and our notes and all the things that we've built. And I looked at, okay, did this person attend our workshop? Have they downloaded our freebie? How long have they been on my email list? How do I know them? What is their business? I went to their social media, their website, and I wrote something personal. So this was me writing something personal. It was literally 2 sentences, but it was definitely took some research. It was not a copy and paste. So as an example, I would say, hey, Sally, I saw you attended the Ditch the Social Drama live workshop, and we've been connected on my email list for almost 2 years. Oh my goodness. I also saw that you haven't joined Antisocial School yet. Here's the line. Is there anything I can do to help support your decision in joining? Then I said, this isn't an automated email and it's me behind the scenes, not my team, answering all of the messages. I would love to learn more about your business and how I can help. Holly. I think that was maybe 10 sentences. It did take a minute to write, right? I did put some research into it, but why does it work? One, it works because we have all these other systems behind the scenes, right? So we've got the live events and the connection and all the things that are happening, but this is unexpected. It's unexpected and it's different. You are also reminded that I'm a real person. I think I spelled some things wrong. Sometimes I put a smiley face. Sometimes I put something different, but that's okay. People spell words wrong. It's normal. But I was writing it. So again, you're reminded that I'm a real person. But as a consumer, I would like to think that this email was an extension of the customer experience that you receive inside our programs. So earlier in our launch, I wrote an email that basically said, I have had so many coaches and mentors tell me that I should basically take antisocial school and put it in a box and just let people take it without having the live component because it would basically be passive income. And as of right now, I refuse to do it because I want it to be different. I want the experience to be different. And so to me writing this email is a reflection of what it's like to work with me. I want it to be different. It's customized. I don't want something out of the box. That's not what I am out to do, right? So I think that works from one perspective, but from the other perspective, sometimes you need a reminder, just like you do in school, that you can ask questions. Like it's okay to ask a question. I don't know. I was the kid in class that would never ask questions. I would get nervous to raise my hand, even though I had really great questions. And it's interesting because I see my girls do this. Like my one daughter, they're twins. If you're following along, Savannah, she will ask questions all the time. She's like, Mommy, I raise my hand all the time. I ask all the questions. I'm like, that's amazing. Catherine will sit there and not say anything, mainly because her sister probably is asking the question for her and they think exactly alike. But she's like me and she just sits there and thinks about it very strategically. And so it's like she needs somebody to say, hey, I'm giving you permission. Do you have questions? And so this email was giving permission to somebody that was on the fence or really thinking about it. Like, hey, this is a safe space to ask questions. It's just me. Let's have a chat. And so as a result of this email, I got to have some amazing conversations. I also sent a few Loom videos back and forth, which is a great technique, right? When you really maybe the person doesn't have time to get on your calendar or it doesn't make sense to get on your calendar. You can do a Loom video and you can show them behind the scenes. You can answer their questions. You can make it customized. I also invited people to our open house, which is another live event. And in the end, we ended up selling out this program this season, which I'm really proud of given the economic environment, right? It is a different time right now. So if you're listening to this episode and taking notes, your homework is, what is your strategy, right? What is your strategy? The layers. I want you to think about all the different layers that you have. I mentioned that I had a client at our house this morning and we were talking about all of her different layers. There's a local layer where she's networking. There's a podcast layer and a blog layer, which is this content that is creating her as a thought leader, which is something we've talked about on a couple of previous episodes. And then there's the connection layer, right? It's the freebie and the email and the nurturing. And then it goes back to teaching something live and interacting together. And then it's how does it all flow together? So is this something that you need help with? You can just DM me or comment strategy. This is not automated. It's just, I'm so curious if this is something that you're interested in building, and I'll answer any questions you have. But the other reason why this worked, and the second piece of your homework, is I just want you to think about being a real human. Send an email that isn't planned. I love a good system, but in my system, I actually have be a real human. There are pieces of my system that are not automated, right? So can you ask a simple question? And the question is, hey, Sally, is there anything I can do to help you make a decision? How can I help you? I have shared this before, but the how can I help you is such a powerful statement. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate how we get to point A to point B, and we end up doing A to Z, but it's so much easier. And so for me, it's yes, I could write a million other emails, but I really just want to know, what are people thinking? What else can I share to help you make a decision? And so it was just a really fun part of our launch because I just got to speak to so many of you, and it's been fun to stay connected and actually have a real conversation. And so I just wanted to share that, again, let's not overcomplicate it. Let's think about being a real human. And also, let's just think about what's that strategic circle look like for you? And what are the different pieces and parts that you're pulling from? So I hope this inspires you. Go send that email, connect with your audience, and I will see you next week.